Hi, I'm Melinda, and I'm here to say that Trump is very anti-American. He's anti-American. He's pro-violence, and he's pro-war. A
Give one
common,
example where he's pro-war.
well, he's very pro-war when it comes to sowing division within the American people itself. So, in a recent interview, I think was at Fox News, he talked about the enemy within. He also talking about
He's been shot at twice. And is it
by
fair to call that?
Republicans.
Is that fair to call
Well,
somebody
hold on.
who's shooting at him an enemy? Is that a fair game or not?
by a fellow Republican.
Well, hold
So
on.
they were Republican.
No, first
They
of all,
were registered Republican.
Ryan Ruth was not a registered Republican. And
Yes,
by
he
the way,
was.
it should not matter who their party affiliation is. We should agree that if someone gets shot at and he mentions enemy within, he probably gets a pass on that. Yeah.
I mean, people also shot at Mussolini, right? But
do you think
we
Trump and
also
Mussolini are moral equivalents?
well, that wasn't the example here.
No, you brought up Mussolini. I didn't.
Well, yeah, the reason why I brought up Mussolini is because obviously we know that people who we call that pro-war.
But just to
can
Donald
also
Trump's
be-
quote on that was just we're leveling just on the same facts. He
Yeah.
said, these radical lunatics are the enemy within. He has been shot at twice. I would call those people radical lunatics who are enemy within. Do you disagree with that characterization?
by his own side. But when he was talking about the lunatics within, am I too close to the mic? Or?
Go ahead.
He was
when
he was not
talking
shot at
about-
by his own side.
Yeah, they were registered Republicans.
No, again, Ryan Ruth was not a registered
Yeah,
Republican.
he was.
No, he was not. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
He donated.
And then
Anyone who
also
shoots at you is
there's
not on your
a,
side.
Again,
there's
like-
a also
But yes.
common talking point when it comes to talking. A common talking point Republicans have is that there was no new wars when he was.
Yeah.
in
What war did
presidency.
he start?
Well, when it comes to no new wars, he assassinated Soleimani.
No, that's not a war. That's a specific military action. What was the war that Trump started?
Well, there was no war that Joe Biden started.
Well, of course there was. He financed the Russian-Ukrainian war, and he
Who invaded Ukraine?
Hold
Was
on, he
it
blew
Russia
up.
or
So
America?
how much do you know about the Istanbul meeting 5 days into the war between Tony Blinken, Boris Johnson, and the Russian ambassador? So
I'm not sure, but did
you
America
don't know. That's
invade
fine.
Ukraine? Or
Hold on
did
a second,
Russia
because
invade
we
Ukraine?
actually had a chance to have a peace deal 5 days into the war, and it was the United States of America that came in and blew up the peace deal in Istanbul, Turkey. The audience will tell you I'm right. It was our own government that wanted the war to continue. So that's Joe
there-
Biden's war.
Well, no, there's more to that. It's a little hot outside, so I can't do my research right now. But when it comes to
Why does the
this,
temperature impact your research? I don't understand.
Well, it's hot outside. I've been here all day, so my brain's a little fuzzy. So, number one, when it comes to like this idea that Trump is anti-war or there was no new wars under Trump,
He's anti-war.
There was plenty of wars that were going on
you-
during Trump's time.
can you name them,
And
though?
he's also very pro. Dictators, like he's friends with Kim Jong Un. He talks highly.
So we were on the verge
Russia.
of war with North Korea when Barack Obama left the Oval Office. The thing he told Donald Trump is our top threat is North Korea. I don't care if Donald Trump calls Kim Jong Un a friend or not. He got us off the brink of war with North Korea, which is actually what I care about.
We were not really on the
And-
brink of war when it comes
No,
to
it's
that.
correct.
Barack Obama thought we were.
Obama said
Not
to Donald
really.
Trump, you need to watch out for two things: Lieutenant General Michael Flynn and North Korea. That were the only two things Obama said to him in Obama's own telling of events in that short Oval Office meeting. So Obama even said North Korea is your number one threat.
Well, I disagree with Obama. North Korea was not our number one threat. North Korea is an ant compared to America.
Let me ask you, you're anti-war? Are you anti-war?
Very anti.
Okay, do you believe the Russia-Ukraine war needs to come to an end?
Yes, Russia needs
Which
to
is
end
the
it.
candidate which has said that we need to end the Russia-Ukraine war? Which is the candidate who said we need to continue funding the Russia-Ukraine war?
Trump is for backing up Putin.
Trump is for ending the Russia-Ukraine war. That's what he said. Kamala Harris is continuing to fund the Russia-Ukraine war and said she would continue to
No,
vote in favor of it.
She's
Under which candidate was there a
the-
major war in the Middle East? Was there a major war in the Middle East under Donald Trump?
To the first point, when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, America is funding the Ukraine because of agreement we had in 2014. We're holding up a peace treaty with NATO that if any country who wants to join
Is
NATO,
Ukraine part of NATO?
I was about to finish. If any country who wants to be a part of NATO gets sort of bombarded from imperialist other countries like Russia, we have to, as our duty, and it's not just America giving Ukraine money, as our duty signed in the treaty that we have with them, we have to give them some type of funding.
Yeah, so look, there's the NATO treaty that actually says we're going to defend a NATO ally. Article 5, that doesn't apply to Ukraine because Ukraine is not a member of NATO.
I know what you're talking about.
Why was Ukraine not a member yet? Because Russia invaded them.
That's not
because
correct.
They wanted to be.
No,
a
Ukraine
member.
should never. Do you think Ukraine should be part of NATO?
Yes, of course.
Whoa. Okay, that's remarkable.
Yeah, of course.
So the U.S. actually made a commitment back in 1990 to say that NATO would expand not 1 inch past East Germany. Our Secretary of State made that commitment to his counterpart actually it was Gorbachev who led the Soviet Union. So we've actually, in some ways, been responsible for creating the conditions that have created global instability, but that's actually gone up under Joe Biden. So I'm with you on being anti-war. I'll just look at what were the major wars under Donald Trump. We still haven't named one. What are the major wars under Joe Biden? We have several, from what's going on in the Middle East, Israel, Hamas, to Russia, Ukraine, and I judge based on results.
Clarifying question. When you say new wars under Joe Biden, is that implying that Joe Biden started these wars?
No,
They occurred under his administration.
and supported and subsidized them.
and paid for them.
For example, Donald Trump prevented
Okay.
an Israeli-Hamas war.
How?
Through the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords was bringing all the people to the table, cut Palestinian Authority funding, also cut Iranian funding so that the Iran piggy bank could not fund terror throughout the region, brought Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates, Bahrain, and Israel in the room, and signed a historic once-in-a-generation peace deal between those Arab partners and Israel, and that region was the quietest it ever was in 50 years. With Russia, Ukraine, he told Vladimir Putin, you go into Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow immediately. It's interesting. Under George W. Bush, Vladimir Putin took Georgia. Under Obama, he took Crimea. Under Biden, he took the Donbass. Under Trump, he didn't take anything. Why is that? Under Trump, Vladimir Putin did not gain a square inch of new territory. Why is that?
Trump literally talks about deals that or secret meetings that he had.
But
with
it's just a
Putin.
very simple question. If Trump was bought by Putin or was friends with Putin, why did Putin not expand his country under Trump? And every other president he expanded his country under.
What do you mean?
So under Bush, Russia got bigger. Under Obama, Russia got bigger. Under Biden, Russia got bigger. Under Trump, Russia stayed the same. Why is that?
Russia didn't stay the same. They tried to invade Ukraine.
No,
Not under Trump.
Not under Trump. That invasion was in January of February
But
2022.
Trump supports Putin.
No, he
supports
doesn't
that.
actually. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
He talks about how good Putin was.
No, he believes in
also talks-
diplomacy. For example, do you believe
That's
that
not
FDR was
diplomacy.
right in partnering with Joseph Stalin to defeat Hitler?
Yes.
Okay, so at times you have to partner with really bad people for a broader goal. That is called.
But Ukraine is not the enemy.
Well, we're not saying that. You know who is the enemy? China is the enemy.
And Russia.
Well, Russia's not the enemy exactly. How many of your friends have died because of Russians?
How many of your friends died because of Ukraine?
A lot of your friends have died here because of the cartels. And we don't call them an enemy. And they are an enemy within. So when Donald Trump is talking about the enemy within, he's talking about the cartels that are here, that are poisoning our streets with drugs, that are bringing illegal guns into the country. That is the enemy within. Yet we say Russia is an enemy. Russia has never attacked the United States of America.
There is proof that Russia has been funding far-right groups in America. Russia is also very tied to a lot of prominent right-leaning figures. There's a lot of Russian money funding and right-wing
In order to
circles.
play that out, first of all, you're talking about like a couple right-wing podcasters that received Russian cash.
Not a
but
couple.
Just so we're clear, Hillary Clinton received money from the mayor of Moscow's wife. So did Hunter Biden. They give money all across the political spectrum. But I just want to be very clear because I think it's important. Can you show me one new ground war that started under Donald Trump for his 4 years?
There was no new wars under Joe Biden either that he started.
Well,
Ukraine, Russia, and the Hamas-Israel war
Not to
started
mention
under Joe
Yemen.
Biden's watch. Do you
Joe
believe it's the
Biden did
job?
not
Do you,
start that.
do you believe it's the job of the United States Commander-in-Chief to lead by securing peace and reducing risk for the United States? Do you
Yes.
believe that? I think you probably do.
Of course.
And do you believe that you should judge a president based on their results or based on their words?
Both.
Okay. So I judge based on results. And on the basis of those results, we had no new wars under Donald Trump. We have at least 2 major new wars under Biden. And for my part, I don't care whether Donald Trump calls some other world leader a friend or not. What I care about is whether he's advancing American interests.
Trump
That's what
also
wins in the
talks
end.
about putting more funding into Israel to further the genocide of the Palestinians.
Okay, we've already
So how is
discussed
that-
that earlier, but I'm guessing you're voting for Kamala Harris. I'm just kind of guessing. Am I right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I'm not a Kamala stan. So.
Okay, fair. Why is that?
It's complicated, but
No, go ahead. This is interesting.
well, no, it's complicated. I'm more anti-Trump than I am pro Kamala Harris. But that's besides.
What do
the
you
point.
think is important for the country?
I think Well,
Pick your top 2 issues. What are the top 2 issues for the country?
the top 2 issues for the country is
What do you want to see happen in the next 4 years?
getting rid of disinformation, and also securing more hope in our system.
So disinformation is protected by the First Amendment. You would agree?
Yes. Disinformation when it comes to news outlets is what I'm mainly talking
So
about.
you and I both agree we should pull CNN's broadcasting license.
More like Fox News.
No, that's the point, is that all of a sudden CNN has a right to be able to do what they do. Fox
Well,
has a right
Fox
to,
News is actually currently, I think about a year ago, is going through a defamatory
do you think that
court case.
Do you think that it should be legal to have different opinions? Of course you do. So where
Illegal?
do you legal?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm mainly talking about news corporations or like news outlets, and also big media figures who can spin sort of disinformation, and that can swing the election. For example, like Elon Musk targeting people on his platform that are liberal and targeting or like pushing out.
Why should that be illegal?
Because he's trying to sway the election.
So he's he's a citizen. Should Taylor Swift not be able to speak about? She's swaying the election.
Well, no.
How is Taylor Swift and Elon Musk different? She's far more popular than Elon Musk.
Because Elon Musk on his platform is prohibiting information about Kamala Harris.
No, he's not.
So
Yes,
let me just say one thing. We're all against disinformation here, but let me just ask you 2 pieces of disinformation that we know are disinformation. Where did the pandemic begin?
In China.
In a lab?
No.
You don't think it began in a lab in China because that's not widely accepted that that's where it began. Yet if you
No.
said that in 2020, and I don't blame you, I blame the fact that we created disinformation in this country.
Yeah, you're a victim of disinformation.
Because it was created in a lab.
It was created in a lab in
Not
Wuhan.
in a bat cave. Yeah.
And I don't even blame you. I don't
It
even
wasn't
blame
in
you
a bat
because the
cave.
government stopped you from being able to know that. So right now we're having a conversation where you believe that the pandemic did not begin, that COVID-19 did not begin in a lab in China, because guess what? That's exactly what our government required you to believe.
What
If
evidence
anybody
do
said
you
it
have
did,
that
they
was
required it to
created
be
in a lab?
censored.
What
Well,
evidence do you have that was created in a lab?
you have actually you now
It-
actually have
it's
the
a lot.
genetics of the virus to be able to go back to actually the lab that was manipulating a non-human virus. It was never a naturally occurring virus. The only way that they now know based on the genes.
SARS is not a naturally occurring
SARS-CoV-2
virus?
SARS-CoV-2 is not.
It's current.
How?
Again,
It
this
spreads.
is-
It was
this is-
designed to spread more
this is
rapidly, which
too
is exactly
radical.
why I did.
How?
But suffice to say that now at least every major scientist or medical researcher today who said 2 years ago that it did not believes this is the most likely origin of the pandemic, and yet most of the public, including even yourself, believes what the government told us 2 years ago. That's actual disinformation. Let me ask you another thing. Was the Hunter Biden laptop story on the eve of the last election, the 2020 presidential election? There was a lot of compromising information about Hunter Biden found on a laptop that was found about a month before the election. Was that made up or was that actually true?
Hunter Biden was prosecuted.
No, was the laptop story, was it true or false?
It doesn't matter. He was
Turns
not
out it
running
was
for
true, but you were
presidency.
told it was false. So we share with you a passion
Who
for
said it was false?
getting rid of disinformation. The way we
U.S.
do it is
intel
for free
agencies.
speech.
The,
Yeah.
the Central Intelligence Agency came out and signed a letter, 50 of them, saying that this was Russian disinformation. I lost my Twitter account because I started to share the Hunter Biden laptop during the election. 1 in 4 swing voters during the 2020 election said they would have voted differently if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop. That's
But
our own government.
Hunter
And that's
Biden's not running
disinformation.
for presidency.
Yeah, but his dad was all throughout the laptop talking about foreign deals, Chinese cash, Ukrainian meetings, Russian deals. All that was in the laptop.
Hunter Biden was prosecuted.
Right, that's not the
Just
point.
like how Trump was prosecuted.
Right.
34
So-
felons.
Yeah, we got that. So I'm going back, though, to the laptop. Our own government came in and said that that laptop was Russian disinformation. Let me ask you a question, though. Do you believe that saying that closing schools during COVID was a good thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Largely.
That is now widely accepted as being epidemiologically wrong, morally wrong.
Who?
Everything.
We got a lot of kids who are now suffering from mental health disorders. You got a lot of kids who have failed to acclimate socially, who are 2, 3, 4 years old, that grew up into that,
more
never going to be the same
importantly-
again.
More importantly, should I have been able to
That's
say
not true.
during the pandemic that closing schools was wrong?
You as an individual?
And my media company.
Your media company? Probably not. But you as an individual? Sure.
So we're going to I agree on this one.
No,
we're going to agree to disagree. We
You
have a
have
different point of
Stalinist
view.
view of speech, basically.
Well, I mean,
Stalinist.
Charlie, I think we even the labels aside, if somebody believes that you should not have been able to say during the pandemic that schools should remain open, if it's your belief that a media company should not have been allowed to say that, then I think if you're voting for Kamala Harris, you are voting for the right candidate for you. I truly believe that.
Okay, sure.
She is the censorship candidate. Her belief for the world is that if Charlie
in
Kirk
fairness.
and Elon Musk get too
So
powerful,
when Donald Trump said that people who kneel for the national anthem should go to jail, is that free speech?
well, he never said they should go to jail. He
Yes,
said
he did.
they're not patriotic. He never
And
said they
he's-
should go to jail.
yes, he did.
Again,
You can
I
look
hate.
that up.
He never said they should go to jail.
Yes, he did.
Okay, see this again. You are a victim of disinformation.
No, I'm
Let me ask you just one more question. Can men give birth?
Can men give birth
Yeah.
if they're transgender?
So again, I mean, the beauty of
That's
this
a fact.
country, no, but the beauty of this country is that she gets to have that view and vote for who she wants. And I think we have laid out here, this is a Kamala Harris voter, right? If you believe men can give birth, vote for Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump. If you believe that you should not have been allowed to say as a media company that schools should not have closed during COVID-19, that you should have been banned from saying it, absolutely Kamala Harris is your candidate, not Donald Trump.
Your
But
media,
this
your
lays
media
out this
company
lays
should
out the
not-
choice in the
Your
election.
media company should not put out disinformation.
But who? Let me just one more question. Who judges its disinformation? Who's in charge of that standard?
It depends on what it is. If we're talking about COVID, we should look for the medical scientists and doctors.
Were they wrong about anything during COVID?
Some things.
So then why should we give them unilateral authority? This is where we're
Well,
different.
well,
we believe the
this
first.
is science, not scripture. So science can be changed. Yes, that's how science works. It always evolves. We believe that the Earth was in the center of the universe.
Should a
then
media
science
company
evolved.
be allowed to say that climate change is not an existential risk to humanity?
It depends on what type of data that they're putting out.
So if a media company says the climate change agenda is made up on false premises and that, you know what, global surface temperatures should be allowed to go up, should they be banned from saying it?
Should a media company say that bleach is good to drink?
They should be allowed to say
First
it.
of all, that
They
never
should be allowed
happened.
to drink.
That never happened. Never happened.
They
never
should be allowed
happened.
to say that?
And they should be allowed to say it, of course, because the First Amendment protects all speech, hate speech, disinformation, misinformation, and correct speech. You cannot
For
police
an individual.
and companies and individuals, LLCs.
Companies
social
are run by individuals.
Platforms. Free speech transcends all platforms all the time, and you cannot all of a sudden.
I think this is useful because I do think
No,
there's a
it's-
difference in
it's
opinion.
so illuminating.
And if you have the views you do, I do think Kamala Harris is your candidate.
And the final
Okay.
point
And the
is
beauty of
under,
our country is we get to
under
do
your
this.
view, last thing, let's say Trump wins and becomes supreme dictator of America. Why would you give him the power to shut up liberal media?
What?
You believe that the experts or whatever should be able to close disinformation. If Trump were to win, why would you give him that power to shut up liberal media?
If the liberal media is wrong?
But Trump would say they're wrong, so he'll shut it up. But that's the
Is
point.
Trump an expert?
Okay, that's the point, is that at some point, that's why you should have First Amendment, because it's, whoever's in charge gets to determine what is right or wrong. That is what Orwell wrote about.
When it comes to medical and scientific
The
things
sci-
like that, it should be.
They
we should
were
look
wrong
for-
about everything. They were wrong about 6 feet to slow the spread. They were wrong about the vaccine, safe and effective. They were
Wait, they
And
were
they were wrong about whether the Earth revolves around the sun, by the way.
the heliocentric
They've been
theory
wrong
of
And
for a
guess
long
who
time.
debunked that?
The
Other
experts,
scientists.
through
And not
free speech,
politicians, right?
through free speech and open debate,
Yeah,
which we need more of in the
open
country.
debate
not less.
gets you to truth, not totalitarianism. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I go this way? Or?
I feel bad.
That is one of the scariest I've heard in my 12 years of doing this.
She's a victim. I mean, I'm not mad at her.
No, I mean, that's the death of the country if you just say I should be able to shut you up because
I'm not mad at her, man.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's
this is a victim.
bone-chilling.
This is a victim of what's going on in the
it's
country.
bone-chilling.